You know, when they dragged Julian Assange out of his asylum in that act of what I consider fascism, John White called it that, and I agree with him. They screamed, all our politicians screamed from the top of their voice, nobody is above the law. Well, it's clear that some people are, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's so interesting. You mentioned Julian Assange. The new charges, quote unquote charges, against him, like the things they're adding to that indictment, they are so desperate
It's
to
really
try.
desperation.
Oh, it's
It's
beyond
such a good
desperation
word.
because they're just trying to say he helped somebody hack something. He did it. And the reason they're doing that is because the way freedom of the press works in the United States, this is not a crime. Okay, let's say I'm a publisher and somebody comes to me with some documents and they're like, I, I think you should publish this. And I look at it and I decide to publish it. I didn't commit a crime. Let's say I say to them, hey, this is good stuff. And I publish it. Still didn't commit a crime. Let's say I say, hey, this is good stuff. And can you get me some more of this?
Yeah,
Gordon, I still didn't commit a crime.
I know.
That's not a freaking crime. Now, if I help them, like these documents are illegally hacked documents, these are private documents, whatever. If I help them, then I've committed a crime. But publishing them, not a crime. Saying, hey, this is good, can you get me some more of this? Even that type of collaboration, that is not a crime. Helping is a crime. That's why they did what they did to Chelsea Manning. They wanted to coerce a confession out of Chelsea Manning. They wanted her to say, Julian Assange helped me. She didn't, likely because it isn't true, but they still tortured her in an attempt to get this kind of confession out
Yeah.
of her because they
Shout
wanted
out,
to use
by the way,
her.
shout out to Chelsea Manning.
Absolutely.
That you know what? It's a crude joke, but I tell you, to all those people who denigrate and it's always call her Bradley, etc. That person's got more balls than you ever will. And I really, I don't mean that bad against Chelsea. I mean it against these people who just go straight for the gender thing. That person, that person, I'm getting upset because I get so irate about this. That person is stronger, Ron, than the both of us put together. I would have folded
Absolutely.
like a $2 whore in that situation, and I dare say you would too, mate, because she's heroic. That person is
She's very
heroic.
heroic. She's very, very heroic. And, whenever, somebody uses a person's dead name in a news article or something like that. I mean, if somebody's like on a talk show and they accidentally, it's a slip of a tongue and it's an honest mistake, that's one thing. But whenever it's in an article, it's malicious. And
Yeah,
it's just meant to marginalize that person further because that is just a way to just be cruel to them.
yeah.
So,
Well,
whenever, and you see it in the press. I mean, you still see her dead name printed in the press. And it's not a
she went
typo. It's not a
through
mistake. It's
torture.
cruelty.
She went through torture to protect freedom of the press.
Right.
And they still dead name and denigrate her and call her a traitor, etc., or
Yeah.
have John Bolton on. They'll prop up John Bolton like they have been doing, like some goddamn hero over the last 3 weeks when he's had this book out, which I swear Trump has got shares in because he's been, going against it so much that he's obviously number one New York bestseller. I'm sure that's how it works. But, they'll prop up. John Bolton said that Chelsea Manning should have got should have been put to death
Yeah.
for
John
releasing those.
Bolton is an insane war mania. I mean, he
Who,
is just such a warmongering psychopath. The fact that, and here in the United States, the fact that he is being celebrated just
by
because,
liberal
by liberals.
outlets.
I mean, it's unbelievable. The amnesia. I mean, Gore Vidal calls us the United States of amnesia, which is such an appropriate title because it's just like, and people don't realize the danger of, welcoming someone like John Bolton into polite society, of rehabilitating George W. Bush. I mean, and even people who I have talked to that I consider reasonable, rational people who I agree with most of the time, when they start, Trump has really hijacked some people's critical thinking skills. And when you hear these people, well, we'd be better off if George Bush was in charge right now, because at least George Bush, when you think about the administration he had, if George Bush was in charge right now, we'd be just as screwed, and we'd be going to war with China. I'm not saying that I mean, Trump's terrible. Like Trump is absolutely terrible.
He hasn't
But I'm
started a
not going
war.
to let that cloud my judgment to think we should be rehabilitating these war criminals, or welcoming John Bolton. And are you kidding? Two wrongs do not make a right. That's a basic lesson you're taught as a child.
I
So
know.
yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable seeing that happen before our eyes, and it's it really makes you feel like, but when you're somebody who kind of sees the bigger picture and sees the forest, as a lot have, and I think that more are now, because I think more people are waking up to realize the stranglehold on our politics, to realize how they have been left behind, and this isn't something that's just going to go away with Trump. This isn't something that's limited to just the GOP. It's the Democrats too, and it's just the rot in our system. I think more people, especially the younger generation, are really waking up to that.
Yeah, I'm hoping that you're all going to come together and do something November to break this two-headed Nazi Hydra that is bloody running your government. I know it's obviously just factions within the government, but that's the problem, isn't it? They're not elected officials that you got to get rid of. These people are unelected, and they're lifers, and they've been there forever, and they're very, very powerful.